Resilience, focus, discipline, courage. Some of the key ingredients in manifesting your vision into a reality. Join me as we delve into what it takes to make your mark. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Make Your Mark show. I am delighted to be here today. This is our first official show in terms of featuring a maven in our city that I'm super, super excited to bring on right now. But I'm first going to tell you a little bit about her and kind of get into things. So it's funny, I was driving here today and, I was thinking about all the times that people told me about potential. And potential is one of those things where when I hear it, it's always like, well, that means that you see something that I don't see at times, but yet I'm not acting upon it. So for me, I would get upset with myself sometimes. People say, you know what, you have a lot of potential. Like if you think back to many employees have told you that, or in if your current job right now, someone's saying to you, you know what, you've got great potential. And, on my drive here, I was working myself up and I'm saying, you know what, Kim, finally, you're working at your potential. But, looking at the profile of the guest that I'm about to feature today, I have the beautiful Lissa Monet, DJ Lissa Monet in the house. And when I first met Lissa, we were speaking on a panel together, and I heard her story. She got up and, she was like, I'm a bit nervous. And I'm like, nervous? And I'm thinking, girl, you've been taking on some big stages. And I was just blown away with her authenticity, is what really got me, and just remaining true to her core is what I really enjoyed about Lissa. So I'm just gonna give you a couple of things, just a surface stuff that Lissa is a DJ, but not only just a DJ, but this gal is a bad gal. Like she's coming out with her degree in business. She was hired by MySpace Canada. She had a whole thing for HTML, right? So she's smart. She's smart, beautiful, and she's got it going on too. So, Lissa rocks parties and special events. Now, she's kind of picky with the events, which you should be as to where you're showing up. But, she also takes a chance with things that are different, which she is different, and you will get to see that even in her style. And, she looks up to people such as, when I saw on her profile Frank Sinatra, I was like, okay, Frank Sinatra, really? Beyonce, Jay-Z, Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, just to name a few people. So, we're going to be hearing from Lissa today, and we're going to be delving into her journey. So as we know, that's what Make Your Mark is all about, is really taking you back on that journey as to what it looks like in order to make your mark. So here we go. Hello, and we are back, and we have the lovely Lissa Monet in the house.
Hi.
So, Lissa, I am just blown away with your story.
Thanks.
And I would love for you to share with the viewers a little bit into how you started.
Okay.
I read it and I was going to give it away a bit earlier, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave it to her to tell her story.
Okay.
So, how did you become so grand as a DJ known internationally now, and what was kind of that walk for you like?
Honestly, it was just hanging around the right people, but not necessarily the right people like in business. It was just hanging around the right people that kept you grounded and hanging around, the right people who had your best interests at heart, which, in the music industry, or I guess in any industry, it's a little bit hard to come by. You're not too sure who you should like trust or what have you. So I really what's the word I'm trying to find? I am grateful to those people who really like took me under their wing and like kind of like brought me to the place that I'm in right now.
Okay, awesome. So what was the pivotal moment where you knew you wanted to be a DJ?
I think when I was kind of forced. I didn't have my heart or my sights set on becoming a DJ. I just kind of started going to parties at a really young age, and but just like my natural love for music just kind of gravitated me towards the DJ booth, usually at like clubs. Like people have their like little place in the club, and my place was always like either beside the DJ booth or like behind the DJ if there was like room or what have you. And I just felt like that's where the energy came from.
Okay.
So that's where I kind of wanted to be at all times. And through that, I just kind of developed relationships with DJs. And in one in particular was Four Corners, who's now the DJ for the Toronto Raptors. He
Okay.
was just like, there's not a lot of female DJs out there. I'm going to teach you how to DJ. So I would like go to his house, like, when I would have like spares or, time off from school, and he'd teach me how to like the essentials of DJing. So like beat matching and like, learning how to count bars, which I already knew going because I went to a school for the arts and we took music
Mm-hmm.
theory. So I already knew all that stuff. So it was just a matter of like just applying all the stuff I learned to what he was trying to teach me, and then just it just came with practice. And then like after that, I just kind of once I got comfortable, I bought my own set, and then I just started practicing in my basement just like for myself, and I would go downtown every Tuesday to play the record, and I would like buy my vinyl, and because at the time it was vinyl, it wasn't computer back then. And I would just practice, and then a couple years after that, Kirk called me up and he was like, "Okay, I have a gig for you. You're gonna open for me." And I was like, "What?" And he ran a Thursday night in Scarborough. If some people remember, at a spot called Sandoz, and it was probably like one of the best parties. Not just because we were on it, but because a lot of other DJs would come and just kind of like jump on whenever they felt like it. So I felt like I got to learn from a lot of, I would like to think, like some of the best DJs in Toronto. So like, Dr. J and Lindo P, and, starting from scratch, and, obviously Four Corners. I'm trying to think of like all the other DJs that rolled through there. But there was just so many. And it was just one of those things where it was just like, you just come and you just lime and you'd have a good time. And,
Yep.
and we all kind of like built bonds based off of that one party.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it just shows that the environment that you put yourself in is so essential to success.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So tell us about one of your biggest accomplishments.
I think one of my biggest accomplishments okay, yes, this is my biggest accomplishment because she's my favorite in the whole world, was when I DJ'd the VIP party for the Beyonce Formation World Tour.
Oh, okay.
That was probably like the highlight of my DJ career.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Like, what does her sweat feel like on your, like, just,
Nerve-wracking.
just,
Oh, she smells great. Like anybody who asks me, that's like the one thing that like the first thing that comes to, and she's super nice. Like just like, sometimes and I was told ahead of time, like sometimes she comes out and sometimes she doesn't, depending on like how long her hair and makeup is. So we weren't really expecting her to come out. So she kind of just like towards the end of my set kind of came out and like poked her head through and like waved at like her fans and stuff like that. And we chatted a little bit, and she was like we were like jamming in the like back, and she was like, "Thanks for playing Prince," because at the time Prince had just passed away. So I played
okay.
a little bit of like Prince, and like I can't remember what I played, but she remembered, and she
Mm-hmm.
thanked me for that. And like the whole time I was just like, no, thank you, 'cause you're Beyonce.
Yeah.
Like, who are you to thank me? Like, you're Beyonce. Thank you. Like, thank you for this opportunity. So yeah, that was like one of the highlights of
Okay.
my career, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, so how did you deal being in an environment that was predominantly male dominated?
You just dealt with it. I don't
Okay.
think it was, I mean, obviously, there were probably moments where I felt like, I'm not being treated fairly, or I'm being looked at because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a female. And I just kind of like, I, I kind of did it the old school way. I played my position, and I just kind of was a nice person. I never
Mm-hmm.
like, talked bad about anybody, or never like complained, or, it was one of those things where it was like, I just let time take its course. So, early in my career, I used to open for a lot of these guys, and I think it was just a fair exchange of like, I got to prove myself in order to be part of this DJ fraternity, even though it's predominantly male. But I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it as like, I have to prove myself to these guys or these DJs in order to show them that I'm just as good as them. Not because I'm a girl, but because I'm trying to be a DJ.
Yeah.
Without throwing the gender in there. It was
Mm-hmm.
just, I just wanted to be a good DJ. I didn't want to be a good DJ for a girl. I wanted to be a good DJ. And if that meant I had to prove myself by opening for them for like 3 or 4 years, then that's what I did until, one day I had there was that one gig where I had that one opportunity and I played a primetime set, and I made sure that it was like the best primetime set that I ever played in
Okay.
my whole entire life. And then, and from there I built the trust, and people trusted me to play their parties.
So did you feel that there was this situation, and you mentioned trust? Did you feel like there was this gap where because you were a female DJ, they didn't trust you with like,
Of course.
okay,
Well, and I mean, I'm sure there was an added layer because I was a female, but all new DJs go through that. It's kind of like an initiation. It's like, we're not just you can't just come out of your house and say you're a DJ and then get expected to be thrown on like the first big party or be thrown on prime time when nobody else has heard you spin in a club, right? So you have to like,
earn
not
your
only
stripes.
you have to earn your stripes and pay your dues, as they say, and like just and it's also like a fraternity in the sense that if a promoter will come to a DJ and say, "Oh, I want to hire this person. Have you played with them? Are they good?" So there's also there's like also a referral like system. Like it's a whole thing that, that takes place in order for you to be like in the right position as a DJ. It's all about relationships. It's all about obviously, your talent as a DJ. And if your fraternity of DJs are comfortable playing with you, it also makes it easier for you to be hired for parties and for gigs and stuff like that.
Okay, awesome. So we might have to go into our break soon, but tell us about a time when it really ruffled your feathers that you were having to earn those stripes that much.
It never did.
Oh, it never did.
Never did.
Okay.
Honestly, I mean, maybe it did and I don't remember because it was so long ago. But like I said, like I never made it an issue that I was being treated unfairly or because I was a girl, because I didn't want to be known as just a female DJ. I kind of like X'd that out of my mind and was like, okay, if I'm being treated unfairly, it's because I'm a better DJ, and they know that. So it's one of
Yeah.
those, so I never used the female aspect as like a crutch or as a woe is me or as a pity party per se. I just kind of like was focused on being a good DJ, and that was it. So I never so any pushback that I got, I kind of looked at it as like I'm getting pushback because I'm about to be on their level skill wise. So, which is fine, and that happens with anybody in any industry, and you just kind of like you just continue to prove people wrong, and you just continue to be nice.
Well, I told you all that she is fearless, right? Fearless. I love your name, eh?
Thanks.
It just has a nice ring to it, a nice flow to it,
Thank you.
right? Own that. So, as this is a Make Your Mark Sure,
Yes.
what we want to do now is in this segment, we're going to delve in a little bit into the journey of the nitty gritty. You know, those times when we feel like this is not for me. You feel like giving up,
Yeah.
all that type of stuff. Because we want to really showcase the pieces that, the struggle at times in order to get to where you are today.
Totally.
So tell our viewers about a time when you felt like, you know what, I'm going to pack up this vinyl, roll that box up, put it deep into my basement, and leave that alone.
Yeah.
Tell us about a time.
There have been several times. I think the first time I was just going through like some weird growing pain. I was like 19 and I just wanted to live on my own. So I like sold half of my vinyl, which I regret now, but I sold it to some really good DJs. So, and then, I just kind of like lived my life for a little bit, but obviously still going out and still hanging out with some of my DJ friends. I was called back, into DJing, and by then, DJing had transitioned from vinyl to like CDJs. Or was it? No, Serato, because Kirk had hit me up and he was talking to me, raving about this whole Serato thing. And I was like, okay, so what does that entail? And it's like, well, you basically have to just basically have all your music on
Yeah.
either a hard drive or a computer. So I literally remember spending my whole Christmas holiday just downloading music from like Napster and all these like,
Mm-hmm.
websites and stuff like that, and just kind of like really building back my music library. And I remember saving up my money for my laptop, and then that's kind of how I got back into DJing. And I just would make mixtapes basically. And around that time, that is when social media became like a large part of our lives. It was very, very early in the early stages. And I would just, create mixtapes and upload them and like post the links and like share them on MySpace. Yes, because it was MySpace. We didn't have Twitter then. And that's kind of how like I got back into DJing the
And
first time.
how long, the first time? She put that in there the first time. How long were you off for
Uh,
the first time?
I can't even remember, but it didn't feel like it was a long time.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
It didn't feel like it was a long time. Maybe 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And wow, well, technology definitely changes
Mhm.
in very short spaces
Yeah.
of
We
time.
literally went from vinyl to CDs to now it's all digital.
All digital.
Yeah.
So that was the first time. So tell
Mhm.
us about the time when, you just like, you know what, this is it. Like, I am done. They've pushed me too far. Like, I can't anymore.
I think it came, you know, I think it came with like just getting older. I did nightclubs for like 15 years
Hmm.
about that. And, you know, as you get older, you grow out of that, right?
Hmm.
Like it's not as fun as it used to be, you
Girl,
know.
you think people grow now?
Well, yes,
I'm
there's
gonna
some
leave
people
that one
who
alone.
can party till they're
Like,
99.
yeah.
But
Hey, and I always tell them, you know what? There's nothing wrong
Wrong
with
with it,
that.
no.
But when you and your kids and your grandkids and the
right.
great grands,
And you're seeing your sister's
yeah,
friend.
and the one you used to,
Right,
uh,
used to babysit.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
when people are coming to you saying, yo, I remember when I used to babysit you. Or
yeah,
I used to, or as your summer camp counselor. It was like,
yeah,
it's like, okay.
yeah.
But no, like, for me, it was just like, I think it was just an evolutionary stage. Like, I just wasn't into certain things anymore. I started seeing things started like stuff started to mean more to me now. Like I remember very, very early in my DJ career, I think it was like the first Stylist DJ Awards. I was doing an interview and somebody asked me, how do you feel being a female DJ and playing a lot of music that's derogatory to women? And
Hmm.
at the time, I didn't know how to answer that because I didn't even look at it like that because I separated music. I separated music from real life. So it was like, for me, it was like I, in real life, would never allow a man to speak the way XYZ is speaking on a
Hmm.
record, right? So it doesn't apply to me. I'm not that girl, or I'm not the type of person that he's talking about.
Hmm.
But now, as you get older, or even as you're, evolving in the nightclub scene and you're actually seeing some of the things that are being spoken about in the music happening in right in front of your eyes, you're just like, nah, I can't be a part of this anymore. Or not even that I can't be a part of this anymore, it doesn't make me feel comfortable as a woman to be playing music and actually seeing, certain things happen in the club that you hear in the music. So I just kind of like took a step back and I was like, I'm done with this. At one point I was like, I don't think I want to DJ anymore, it's not fun. And then I was just like, well, I can't just cut DJ out cold turkey. Like it's not, I don't want to stop DJing. And so I kind of had to like have a conversation with myself and be like, well, the clubs aren't the end all and the be all. There are other ways to DJ outside of the nightclub scene. So I just, kind of had to like, I guess, rebrand myself and repurpose myself into doing corporate events.
Okay.
So, which required me to have to basically start over and, just kind of use some of the contacts that I made along the way to, rebrand or repurpose myself as a corporate DJ, and then just pick and choose the type of club events that I wanted to do because, I mean, every now and then you want to shake a leg and you
Yeah,
want to be in a club
absolutely.
environment. You just don't want to
Absolutely.
do it on a weekly basis for like
Yes.
15 years. No disrespect to those who still do it, but for me, it just, I was over it just as a woman and as, someone who, cares about women.
Yes, absolutely. So Lissa, how have you used your platform to really, and I did a little research on it, of course, right? And I saw that you had things like power lunches going
Mm-hmm.
on, and there was something else that was there. There was power
Power
lunches,
brunch, power dinner.
power dinner. That
Mm-hmm.
was it. And how do you use your platform to empower women? Or I know you spoke about something at the last event we were at, where about bringing up younger DJs,
Yes.
female DJs.
So, yeah, I co-founded or I co-found a all-female DJ booking agency, or yes, yeah, booking agency, I guess, called Lux Life Sound. And basically what we do is we just kind of like empower and develop female DJs who are serious about the craft
Mhm.
and who want to earn a decent living. One of the issues that I had, starting out as a DJ was that I had to start like at the bottom of the barrel when it came to getting paid and getting compensated for my time. And I just didn't feel like, and because I understand the importance of the role that a DJ is in any environment,
Mhm.
I didn't want female DJs to have to go through the same thing that I went through. As far as like being treated a certain way or being treated unfairly, or people just thinking that, oh, she's a DJ, she's just having fun, she's just playing music. No, you're asking me to like basically stand on my feet for 6 hours and not offer me a break. If you were working a retail job, or if you were working a job in general that
Mhm.
was 6 hours long, you are required to take a break. You can
Yep.
even like go and take a break whenever you feel like it.
Mhm.
We can't because we're tied to our equipment.
Yep.
So, we just created little things that like just kind of gave the client and kind of like gave the client an understanding that it's more than just it's fun, but it's more than just someone standing around and playing music for like 6 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Good for you. And so that leads us to another question. How do you know the difference between collaboration versus doing something for free?
I
So
think doing if
so
this.
say someone came to you and they said, "You know what? We have this amazing event. There's
Mhm.
going to be 20,000 people here. We don't have any funding though,
I'm already
right?
giving the side eye, but okay.
We don't have any funding though, but it's going to be great exposure for you." And
Okay.
I'm sure there's events that you may
Yeah,
have done,
for sure.
right? Where, the opportunity looked great.
Hmm.
And I guess that's one of the questions that a lot of young entrepreneurs have
Yeah.
is, how do I know the difference between collaborating and doing something for free?
Well,
Like,
you have to make the most of it. If it's the criteria that you're giving me, I'm being exposed to 20,000 people. Okay, cool. You can't pay me. Okay, cool. But I need my logo everywhere. I need my logo to be visible. I need my social media handles. You have to figure out a way to make it beneficial to you so that way you can get paid back, not necessarily in dollars, but like in whether it's followers or
yes.
exposure or what have you. Like you can't just you don't want to just show up and do your job for free and not get anything in return, or not be able to hand out business cards, or not be able to like just get your whatever it is that you're doing out there to people. If you're being exposed to 20,000 people and you're not getting paid for it, you got to figure out a way to at least get some business from 10% of the people that are there
Yeah.
in some shape or form. And they should be able to be cool with helping you out doing that, especially if they can't pay you.
Okay. And I totally agree with you. There's
Mm-hmm.
got to be some sort of collaboration.
Yeah,
And that's exactly what
because
that is, right?
exposure doesn't pay the bills.
It's so funny on social media. I saw this it was actually a DJ clip
Hmm.
and it said my rent is 800 exposures, 800 exposures. And I laughed. I was like, wow, just hilarious. So, Lissa, we're having a great conversation around, how your journey and really delving into, what it was like as a new female DJ getting into the market. And what I love about your story is that you're highlighting a point saying that, I felt any different necessarily. I knew I had to work a little bit harder
Harder,
and earn
yeah.
my stripes,
Mm-hmm.
but which is really good that, we're highlighting that, because usually the story is that because I'm a female, I have to be so much different,
Right.
and you feel different. But what would you say that is attributed to? Would it be from your upbringing and feeling more grounded within yourself, that you didn't feel that sense of like, well, you have to fight, you have to like really push that door down?
Um, it's not that I didn't feel like I had to fight. I just didn't feel like I had to use my gender as a crutch.
Okay.
I was like, well, if I'm gonna be good, I'm gonna be good as everyone else, no
Yeah.
matter what their sex is. And I guess maybe that did come from my, West Indian upbringing, even though it was never really like, spoken about like
Hmm.
at the dinner table or anything like that. It was just like, you're just as good as everyone else.
Yep.
And I think I just applied that across the board, whether it's me being black or whether it's me being female,
Yep.
because they say, if you're black, you have to work 10 times harder. And then if
Yep.
you're female, add another, 10% tax to that. So
Hmm.
it's like, so for me, I just kind of like treated it as like, you know, I just treated it as a regular
Yep.
thing. Like
Hmm.
if I have to work hard, I have to work hard regardless.
Yep.
Regardless of whether I have a blue shirt on or, whether
Literally, you're wearing blue shirt today,
yeah,
too, right?
exactly.
So, Lissa, tell us about how social media has impacted your business.
Totally.
Because, one of the things for me in working with young people, what they talk a lot about social media,
Mhm.
and some of them have the horrible things to say about it, and then some people just say they just don't get on it.
Right.
But personally, for myself, I've gained a lot of business from social media.
Totally.
I've met a lot of awesome people from social media. I've got to know a lot of good people. Like when you start to see into the lives of people, you start to know who they are.
Mhm.
So how has that affected and impacted your business and you?
I've always tried to make sure that it impacts me positively because I've seen the negative effects.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, that's just always been a thing. But like, yeah, you know what, it's crazy because I was having this conversation with a friend and I feel like my generation, we like, I don't know, it's like we were born at the perfect time. We got to experience the evolution of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to experience the evolution, like when you think about like, communication from like the rotary phone all the way to
Yep.
like, the iPhone. And
Yep.
like now, like even now, it's like we've seen the beginning stages of social media to what it is now. So, and just being able to recognize that as an opportunity to, grow a business or even
Mm-hmm.
start a business or, to communicate with people in different area codes without having to like, you know, ring up your phone charges or whatever, you know what I mean? Like I just kind of saw social media as an opportunity to reach people outside of my city. And because you got to do that anyway
Yeah.
as an entrepreneur, as a creative or as a business owner. You know we all know that the real success is, you know I guess globalization and like, generating revenue
Yep.
outside of your city. So social media has always been, an integral part of who I am as a DJ and has helped me, get gigs outside of the city. My first gig outside of the city was through a relationship I built on MySpace, in Dallas, Texas. Probably wasn't the safest thing to do, but when you're young, you're young.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience for me. I managed to get a gig in Uganda. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
wow. Okay.
probably not the safest thing to do
Yeah.
again, but once again, when you're young, you're young. And, those are like experiences that I will never forget.
Mm-hmm.
So, I do have to attribute social media to a lot of my successes.
So one of the things I saw on your page,
Hmm.
and it really it piqued my interest, is I saw that you started a blog.
Yeah.
And when you decided to go ghost on Twitter.
Right.
So and I read it and I thought, wow, right? Because
Uh-huh.
you took a different turn on things.
Right. Well, a lot of people may or may not know, but I was probably one of the first bloggers in the city. I had a blog back in like 2010. You
You
know,
make it sound like you're so old. I
I
had a
am.
blog back in
You know how
back
long,
in the days,
you know how long 2010 was? That was a
9 years
long time ago.
ago.
That was a long time ago. Yeah, I had a blog and I would feature different like artists and music and stuff like that. So that's just because like that's the way things were progressing at the time. MySpace had a blog component, and then Blogspot came around and was like,
Hmm.
okay, it's time to make an independent blog. And I would just talk about all the things that I liked. And then, little, like, not little, but like sites like Twitter and Instagram made it harder to blog because it was just easier to now microblog and just
Hmm.
post things and like write a little caption. And everything at the time was in real time. And so it just made it a lot easier. And I think that's when I started falling off the blogging, and then just getting immersed in the Twitter world. It was fun at the beginning because it was, to me, it was like an opportunity once again to network and communicate with people. And then I don't know, like in the last maybe like 2 or 3 years, I just started to like not enjoy Twitter anymore. And, you just go on and you just see people just barking at each other
Hmm.
and, just yelling at each other, and nobody's opening themselves up to other people's opinions, even though they may not like agree with it.
Hmm.
They're just, barking back, no, I don't believe this, or I don't think this, or you're this and you're that. And I just felt like it wasn't a productive place anymore to, you know, be entrepreneurial. So I just
Hmm.
kind of like deleted my Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah. And then somebody was like, no, don't do that. You have like 18,000 followers, and, think about like your brand and think about your business. And I really had to. And so now it's back on. Cause
Yay.
yeah, I guess. And I just tweet whenever I feel like it. Like I don't feel obligated to be on it every day. And I don't feel obligated to be on it every day for like 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
I just, I turn my notifications off. Like I just go on it, and then when I go on it, I see what my friends are tweeting, and then I say something interesting or not, and then
Hmm.
I run away.
It was kind of like your other one. So green, is it green? What's your other blog? January 31st. You did a blog on green.
Oh, what's my green
What
print?
what's your green print? So I
Yes.
thought it so here I'm thinking it's what's your blueprint?
Hmm.
So I'm thinking what's your green print? So for me, I'm thinking, okay, she's talking about money now. Because that's what I interpreted it, right?
Oh,
See that? You never thought of that.
I did
So I
not.
thought, okay, she's going to give me some feedback on, how to make some dough.
Right.
And I go on, and it's about nutrition. And I'm like, okay,
Because we all gotta eat.
this is different.
Right.
Green print.
Well,
I never thought about, but it's actually quite catchy
Yeah.
because it got me thinking.
Gotta thank my girl Beyonce for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
From what I understand, Beyonce and Jay-Z started an initiative. Can't remember the name right now, but you can Google it, where they just basically they're trying to encourage people to basically go vegan, but not completely. Like they say that if you eat plant-based meals at least once a day, you're helping the carbon footprint of the earth, because
Mm.
apparently it takes a lot of energy and a lot of pollution to actually raise meat
Oh,
in
wow.
North
Okay.
America. There's tons of documentaries about it that I've watched. I'm also a huge documentary junkie.
Okay.
So leading up to that, I kind of knew where her head was at in regards to like this initiative. So I was all for it, because even after watching the documentaries, I was like, nah, I can't be eating meat like this anymore. It's crazy.
Okay.
And they're putting stuff in it, and like
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to get too deep into that, but like it
Yeah.
just how I used to eat meat back in the day and how I felt after eating meat back in the day is not the same way I feel now. So there's definitely something that they're doing in the process of mass producing meat that's
Yeah.
altering the way that we
And
digest
I
it.
like the fact of how you kind of put your own spin on it. 5 days a week, you're into plant based,
Yeah.
and then 2 days, you kind of do your own thing.
I'll eat a little oxtail and a little chicken roti, and
Yeah.
and I'm flexible
You're
about it. I'm
flexible.
flexitarian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
flexitarian.
So when people ask me
Flexitarian. I
like
like it.
when you go to the restaurant and people ask me like, "Oh, do you have any allergies or are you, specific whatever?" I'm just like, "Oh no, just I'm flexitarian. I'm flexible." So it's like, if I feel like eating fish today or if I feel like eating,
Yeah.
but I'm mindful that,
Yes.
okay, if this is my meat for this week, then this is my meat for this week. I'm not going to, you know, overstep that
Okay.
boundary.
Balance.
Yeah.
Awesome. So with the flexitarian here, I ain't gonna forget that all day. You know that, right? I am
You could
not
have
gonna
it. You
forget
could totally
that.
have it.
Flexitarian. That's my new word. But we could use that in the gym too.
True.
You see that?
True.
Flexitarian.
You could also use it in the club.
So, Lissa, we've learned a lot about you, and your unorthodox approach in your journey, which I love. So now let's kind of wrapping it up with the conversation in terms of let's go back now. We're sitting here in 2019, and we're looking way back, as you call it, because you make yourself sound so old.
So old.
So what would be two things that you wish you knew earlier, and two things you would change? I know
That's a tough one.
it is.
I don't know if I can give you two, but one thing I wish I knew earlier was that I think the one thing that I wish I knew earlier was that you didn't need like I shouldn't have like I should have just trusted in my talent more than trusted in the validation of others, cuz that was just like so heavy on like I guess my goals and like wanting to like break through and like, you know, and it was one of those things where it was like I wanted to make sure that like, my peers approved of me and this and that and the other, and I guess to a certain extent it worked, but I wish I hadn't placed so much like pressure on myself.
And I mean that valid self-validation is it cripples you.
Totally.
It totally, totally
Yeah.
cripples you. And I share that same sentiment in terms of, you know, we place so much of how we feel about ourselves and how we validate ourselves and what others think about us. So I totally, totally hear you. And then what would be something you would have changed? What would be something just totally different that you would change about how your journey was based on what you know now?
I don't think I I don't think I would change anything, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. There's an old Jay-Z song where the lyrics go,
You got to spend some real. Come on,
I
girl.
know.
You got,
It goes, well, the main premise of the song is you got to learn to live with your regrets, right? So, and I feel like you only have one life. So it's like whatever you do, you make sure you do it to the fullest and you do it with respect and within your moral compass.
Yeah.
But whenever you do things, just know that it's you that did it. So whether it's a positive thing that you did or a negative thing that you did, you have to live with that. And if you can live with that and if you can, go to bed at night and, wake up in the morning and know that you did what you did, and even though you may not feel good about it, and you correct that and you move on, so you learn to live with regret. So anything that I've done in the past that I wish I hadn't done, or I wish I had said, or I wish I had whatever, it's like I can't really go back and change that or correct that. I just have to look at that as like that was a moment or a misstep in my life, and what did I learn from that, and how can I take that learning opportunity and make sure it never happens again.
okay. What would be some of your support systems? Like, what's your mental outlet?
Documentaries. I really I love watching docs because it gives me a really real view of the world. Right now I can't trust the news. So, I watch documentaries to stay informed and to stay in touch with like what's happening on a human level. I find that sometimes like with social media or even with the news, like everything is very sensationalized and they like to focus a lot on like, celebrities doing things, and like politicians doing things, and it's like, what's happening, like, to, not to say that they're not, and that's the thing, it's like they're human too, but they put them on such a pedestal that it makes them not human. And it's like, I need to know what's happening I need to know what's happening in the world that, like, can keep me on a human level, and, like, keep me grounded, in the sense that, like, all this, like, all these accolades, and, like, all the success that I've gained so far is amazing, but at the same time, we're all still human beings, and we all still strive for all the same things at the end of the day, if that made any sense.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I totally get it.
I felt like I was rambling a little bit.
No. I totally get it. So, what are some, like, do you use family? Like, what's your support? Like, in
Definitely,
terms
yeah,
of...
definitely family. Like, my mom, and, my dad, and my sister, and, I have an amazing group of friends that, I can call and, like, kiki and have, like, a few jokes with. And, still the same DJ fraternity that I came up with, like, well, even though we're all, like, super busy in our own right now, it's like we'll all, like, touch base with each other, and it's never a thing where it's like, oh, I haven't heard from so and so in so long, are we still friends? It's like, we may not speak for months, but then when we reach out, whether it's on social media or on WhatsApp, or even if we pick up the phone and call, it's always love. Like, it's never like, well, where have you been, or whatever. Like,
That's
we
a
all
guy
just
thing.
yeah.
That's a guy thing.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
we all just
Yeah.
know that it's like, it's love regardless. So, and whenever we see each other doing, like, amazing things, we'll hit each other up on social media and be like, oh my God, that was amazing, or, dope gig, or, what have you. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Awesome.
the support's there.
So, after all of this now,
hmm
what would be your definition of success today?
Somebody asked me that earlier this month. I don't know. I feel like success is evolutionary. It changes, with, where your mind is at the time. Like, what I thought was reaching a level of success 10 years ago is not what I think is success now, So it's just, yeah, I think at the end of the day, I just want to, like, stay black. Really and truly, I don't know, like, it's really hard. It's honestly really hard. Like, I just at the end of the day, I just want to stay black and be happy.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, you're going to stay black.
Yeah.
I'm going to promise you that. That's not going to change, right? So, Lissa, what would be a piece of advice you would give an entrepreneur that's coming up right now? They're getting out of their teens, and they're looking at the world, and they're really wanting to make their mark. What would be that advice that you would give them?
Oh gosh, it's so hard in this, like, time now. But I think the one thing that I would tell them is, if you're passionate about something, stick with it, and don't feel like because you've reached a part, like, either like a roadblock, or, something that you might feel is like, you can't get past that. Keep at it. Like, just be a master of whatever it is that you are trying to do. Learn it, study it. Don't be swayed by, the fact that your friend is doing something completely different and has, like, become super successful at that. That's their success in their time. If you're really passionate about what you're doing, you would stay the course and just stay focused on what it is that you see yourself succeeding in. Don't try to, because if you maneuver, you might miss an opportunity for what, it is that you're focused on.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite quote?
I don't really have one.
No?
Oh, yeah. My favorite quote, it's not my favorite quote, but it's a quote that has stayed with me for a very long time. When I was super young, I went to this, like, this seminar, and Chuck D from Public Enemy was speaking.
Okay.
And the one thing he said, it was super simple, but it's just stuck with me. If you don't know how to pay for something, learn to do it yourself. Seriously. And that stuck with me my whole life.
If you don't know how to pay for something, learn how to do it yourself.
And that's how I learned how to do HTML, and that's how I learned how to do, like, website building and graphic design. I didn't have the money to pay a graphic designer, so I just learned Photoshop. I didn't have the money to pay a website, like a web designer, so I just learned HTML.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that is some great
Thank
advice.
you.
So I mean, Lissa, you have given us a wealth of knowledge here today.
Thanks.
So I truly, truly, truly want to thank you from the bottom of my heart
Aw,
for one, being the first guest on our show and coming out here and really sharing up and opening up and
thanks.
being vulnerable.
Oh,
And we appreciate you. And I'm hoping that people will be blessed by watching you
I hope so.
and listening to what you need to get on social media live more and talk more,
I
right?
know. Yeah. It's
Just like one thing at a time.
something I'm fighting with.
I know, but you do such a great job. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've heard from the wonderful Lissa Monet today, and she's laughing at me. She's like, I love how she says my name, Lissa Monet. But we left you with some nuggets today. So every week on the show, we'll be having different guests, and the goal here is helping you to build resilience, really helping you to be able to make your mark. So till next week, thank you, and we'll see you then.
Bye.
Resilience, focus, discipline, courage. Some of the key ingredients in manifesting your vision into a reality. Join me as we delve into what it takes to make your mark.